Hi guys, as requested, I'm going to be reviewing a video called Meet a 62-year-old who's aging backwards.
Would you believe me if I told you that this man was 62 years old? Probably not. And would you believe me if I told you that this man's body was 38 years old?
No, of course not, because he doesn't look like he's 38 whatsoever by any definition. If he was actually 38, then I would right away make a video about him called the worst and oldest looking 38-year-old on earth, because his skin is like that of 50-something-year-old. I would say that he looks younger than 62 in these photos, but I will show you some other photos of his in a second. We'll see what else he says first.
And would you believe me if I told you that for every year that passes, he only ages 0.66 years? This is David Pascoe, and he's ranked in the top 10 on something called the Rejuvenation Olympics leaderboard, and he's cracked the code on anti-aging. And unlike...
Interesting, he actually showed some of the photos which I wanted to show you, except that those were low-resolution photos.
Brian Johnson, who spends $2 million a year to get these types of results, Dave spends a measly...
Brian Johnson looks horrible for his age.
$30,000 a year. So in this video, we're going to break down the most important aspects of his routine and his lifestyle that any of us can apply to live longer, to live healthier, and to live better. And here's the best part about his
I wonder how old this guy himself is.
Longevity lifestyle. He is not calorie restricted. He is not a vegan. He doesn't even count his calories. He is not on TRT or steroids. He has cheap.
Wow. Oh my god, that's so false. Does he actually say that himself? He is 100% on TRT. 100%. You can see it in any video or photo. Come on, why would you lie like that? Does he lie, or is the video creator lying right now? I would bet everything that I have that he's on TRT. I haven't seen anybody else even deny that. It's a good time now to look at the other photos which I meant. Firstly, this one, this isn't even from now, this is from years ago, and he already looked like a guy who's in his 50s, as he actually really was at the time. Does he look like he's 38 here, with that kind of skin, with those kind of wrinkles? Jesus. Here, 38? The reason people say that he looks 38 is because he's on TRT, and because most guys today look like they have no muscle mass at all left because of their horrible diets. It has nothing to do with how you naturally age. He will appear as if he's more robust, let's just say. And it's also because of his long hair. Maybe it's genetic, which is why it's not gray. Maybe he dyes it. His beard is also not gray, which again makes it appear as if he's younger. But then again, in nature, you don't get a gray beard at that age. Look at American Indians, for example, the way their hair looks like when they are in their 60s, 70s, 80s even. It just depends on the generations, what the past generations ate. And seeing as they eat a lot of raw meat, obviously they have good genetics, although the new generations of American Indians don't. Again, here, but here it looks like he has for sure gray hairs in his beard, which makes me think that he's dyeing his beard. But would he go through all of the hard work just to dye the beard, or is the beard like that right now? I don't know. If he's trying to look younger, then he may go through all the trouble. And here comes my favorite photo. Boom! Let's zoom in. 38. Yeah, 38. Look, a normal 38-year-old guy. He doesn't look at all like he's in his 60s here. No. Come on, man. Look at these muscles. If this is not TRT, then what is? It's TRT by definition. Look at any photos of him without a t-shirt. Anybody who knows anything about TRT knows that this is completely unnatural. His body fat is way too low. And you can also see that's why he looks so old. He looks actually very sick in this photo. The wrinkles are abnormal. I don't even know if this is normal for a 61, 62-year-old. Right now he's 62. The photos which most people use are when he was in his late 50s. But At the very best, in this photo, I would say that he's age. At best, really, when you look at his neck and the overall skin condition, he looks like he's possibly even older. But 38, come on, completely delusional. It's probably because of the drugs, the TRT, that he is aging his skin so terribly.
Meals. He goes out with his friends. He has a social life, and all of this
That's good. It keeps you happy, so to speak.
makes it much more attainable for us. Oh, and did I mention that he also drinks beer and eats pizza every once in a while? So first things first, let's start out with his mindset. I'm going to read you a quote of what David says. He said, "I consider my body to be like a prized racehorse or a cherished high-end performance vehicle. I will only get this one, so just like any valued possession, I will treat it with reverence and I will invest heavily in its appearance, performance, fuel, care, and maintenance. I only wish that I knew and applied everything I know now decades ago." Dave is a big believer.
That's not bad advice in itself, except that what he's doing is wrong.
In this idea of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So
Horrible, so wrong. I have a whole video about this.
in his protocol, you're going to see lots of examples of how he builds resilience and his approach to hormesis and incorporating that in
Hormesis is your body adapting to stress. That's it, it's nothing else. And the more you adapt your body to stress, the more you age.
his life. The overarching important takeaway from his mindset is that he takes a high degree of responsibility and invests heavily into his personal health. And he doesn't outsource this responsibility to anyone else because he reminds us that no one is going to care about your health and well-being as much as you will. So
Him eating some fruits and vegetables. Loser.
lesson number one is to take radical responsibility for your health. That practically looks like,
Man, you look exhausted. You have slight dark eye circles. You're doing everything wrong yourself.
is reading lots of books, learning about biochemistry and pathways and how biology works, speaking with many
That's good, but it seems like you haven't learned anything.
doctors and having long, sometimes painful conversations with them, listening to podcasts, hiring consultants, and doing
Yeah, what? Andrew Huberman? Idiot.
In addition to that, a few times a week, he also does HIIT training, and he does this on the Carol bike. In random
That's why his skin looks so old.
increments throughout the day, when he has a little bit of downtime, he's also playing with a balance board or on the Bosu ball. We're doing some slacklining in the backyard, and that way he can continue to
That's okay. That's not stressful.
work on his balance as he gets older, because that's one of the first things that leads to an eventual early demise is you losing your balance, tripping, hurting your
Yeah, but it doesn't happen naturally. This is only caused by a bad diet, nothing else.
self. And then because of injury, your mobility starts to decrease rapidly. And when you stop moving, that's really when lots more issues
Absolutely not true. Only has to do with diet.
start to show up. He also does daily rebounding on a mini trampoline, and I do that as well. And I made it.
That's also fine. It's also not stressful.
He's making sure to cover all of his bases between the strength, the cardio, the flexibility, and the balance. When you're training in this way, you're training all these different systems, and that will lead to a long life because you need all of them to function really well.
How does it lead to a long life? All stress leads to a shorter life. How does he not understand this? This is biology 101. If you know anything about biochemistry, then you will know right away that any stress is going to shorten the length of your telomeres, for example. That's just one way to easily prove that stress and exercise shortens your lifespan, besides the countless studies proving it.
Let's talk about his food, which is probably the most interesting part. Dave's core thesis is around two ideas: nutritional density and nutritional diversity. So he has a combination of a Mediterranean/paleo diet. So he's eating a lot of greens, tubers,
Greens, it's the least nutritious foods on earth.
a little bit of meat, some fruit,
A little bit of meat? Really? Does he eat a little bit of meat? Who knows?
seeds, nuts.
Seeds and nuts. Nuts are seeds. Again, least nutritious foods on earth.
A little bit of rice. When we look at the section where we go into testing, you'll see that he's very focused on making sure he's meeting all of his nutritional needs as much as he
What is that? Jesus, it's just a bunch of fiber.
can from diet and then supplementing the rest. So an example of this
You don't need to supplement anything if you eat nutrient-dense foods. I thought that you said that he eats the most nutrient-dense foods. That's what he focuses on. He should be eating organs. Organs have every nutrient, obviously, but in the highest amounts also. If you eat organs, especially raw, then you don't need anything else.
This is he'll have a green banana in the morning. Why a green banana? Well, less sugar, high in resistant starch. It's really good for gut health.
Resistant starch. It really only just means that the fiber is indigestible, which is why you cannot uptake the starch. It's just indigestible, that's it. It's just a stupid term. Just call it indigestible fiber.
Very nutrient dense, but then he'll combine.
What nutrient dense? Bananas are not nutrient dense in any way at all, in general, even if they are ripe. But if they are unripe, then you're not even getting any sugar, basically. You're just getting nothing except for gas. Green bananas will always lead to a lot of gas and gut discomfort.
Puts every nut imaginable into this mix. Then he puts every seed imaginable into this mix. And then he puts as many spices as...
Oh my god, that sounds horrible. Seeds are full of anti-nutrients, tons of toxins, pesticides. And then of course, the spices are insanely toxic, which is why you use small amounts of them. He would never do it the other way around, use tons of spices and a few seeds, and that's simply because he would be hospitalized right away if he would do that, because of how toxic the spices are.
As he can into the mix. And then a whole bunch of superfood.
Yeah, as he can, because you can't do a lot of them.
Food powders like maca and spirulina.
All insanely toxic, you're dumb.
Nutritional yeast and random health food store stuff that you have probably seen or heard.
These health food stores don't have anything healthy. A health food store, when you come inside, should have a huge jar of fresh blood that you can fill in. You weigh it and then you go to the cashier to pay for it. There should be an aisle of liver, brain from grass-fed animals, and so on. Really not much more else, because that's all that you need. Some grass-fed back fat, chest fat from animals. Maybe some muscle meat also, some good steaks, maybe even some ground meat, some grass-fed raw butter. That would be a health food store that doesn't even exist on this earth. That already says everything about this earth and these societies full of slaves.
And then a variety of frozen berries. Even though there's nutritional redundancy with all the different
you don't
nuts
fucking
and
understand
seeds,
anything.
he thinks that there might be a synergistic effect because these are all different foods and we don't really know how they interact with each other. Even though there's a little bit of overlap, he thinks it's actually really good. In addition to that, he can store this in...
So it's a religious belief. Cool.
...his refrigerator for a while because the spices have antimicrobial properties.
Antimicrobial means that it's poison. What kills microbes? Only toxins. What else? Nothing. Only toxins. Something that is antimicrobial is toxic by every definition. Again, he talks about biochemistry, doesn't understand the first thing about biochemistry. This guy looks really sick. Somebody find out and tell me in the comments how old he is.
Be very sustainable long term. And then an example of a common lunch for David would be a can of oysters, mussels.
Okay, oysters are very healthy. Farmed oysters, not so much, although still all right compared to something like farmed salmon. Mussels, also good.
Sardines, mackerel, and some frozen shrimp added to...
It's not that bad.
A variety of fruit and some bone broth and an avocado. The thing that sticks out...
The avocado is useless. You can eat it, but it doesn't have anything special.
To me here is that I just don't know that many people that are eating mussels and oysters and all that stuff on the regular. And the reason why he chooses these types of seafood is because they're lower in mercury. So from a heavy metal perspective, they're much safer and they're very nutrient rich. Dave is definitely on the early dinner train and usually eats between 3 and 6. All of his meat comes from butcher box where you can get grass-fed, grass-finished, organic, pasture-raised.
Yeah, but you said that he eats pretty little meat, which I don't believe. Why would you order anything at butcher box if you don't eat a lot of meat?
Like basically all the healthy stuff that you would want when it comes to your meat. You can tell that this guy's a systems thinker because of the way that he structures his nutrition. He's using the Instapot. He'll throw like a chuck roast in there with some vegetables and some sweet potatoes. And then he'll also use this new wave infrared oven, which can cook a lot of meat in a really efficient way. So you'll have that Instapot concoction, you'll have a big salad, and then you'll have some type of starch.
Yeah, or you could not cook your food at all, the same way every animal does it. And then you would be getting all of the nutrients out of the food, if you would be eating natural food, obviously not from plants.
like different varieties of rice or different varieties of sweet potatoes. I could be wrong, but I got the impression after reading his
I think that you're wrong about a lot of stuff, let's be real.
blog that he is on a lower carbohydrate diet, and if he does eat carbs,
That also helps with not aging so quickly.
he's probably timing it right around exercise and modulating it based on how
Yeah, if you eat carbs, then it should be around the time. Not that you should be exercising, but if you do.
much movement he's doing throughout the day. Or at least that's what he said when he goes out. He'll always aim for some type of low carb option. Ideally something that's not
Yeah, but then you're talking nonsense. How are you going to eat a low carb diet if you eat very little meat?
fried, charred, or sweet. And this is the part that blew my mind because most people who are in this space would never talk about how they eat pizza or drink a blonde beer or something, anything close to that. But from what I read, it seems like if he has the option to hang out with people and they want to go out to dinner, he's going to actually prioritize that, being with people, over making sure everything's perfect. And
Yeah, as I said, it does give you a sort of happiness. For sure, being around people, obviously, it's a million times better than being alone. Would it outweigh the damage caused by the pizza? You can argue about it.
early dinner train somewhere between 3 and 6 o'clock, which is ideal. That means you have at least 3 to 5 hours before you go to bed so that the body can digest all the food that it just ate, and then it can sleep really.
You could also just be eating raw meat, what humans eat in nature. Then you wouldn't have any digestive issues whatsoever. You wouldn't even feel the food in your stomach. That's how it's naturally supposed to be.
Deep throughout the night. This is going to help with the lymphatic system, which is the waste system in your brain that clears out while you sleep. He's definitely optimizing a lot
Yeah, or you could just not consume any waste.
for his circadian rhythm, and I've talked ad nauseum about that on the channel, so I'll put a playlist right here for you to go watch afterwards if you're interested in that type of content. But this has a lot to do with light timing. So at a certain time in the evening, he's going to put his blue blockers on. Lights in the house are going to shift using Philips Hue to a certain color, red, orange, to sort of wane him into night mode, and then all
That makes zero sense. There's no such thing in nature. That cannot help you. It's as if it's daylight again in the evening. How stupid can you be? Seriously.
So once he starts getting into his routine, he's going to do something that I've never really heard of anyone else doing, which is he eats 2 kiwis. So apparently kiwis are rich in serotonin, which can help regulate your sleep.
I don't see how a fruit could possibly have an animal hormone inside of it. Maybe a molecule which looks similar to serotonin. I haven't found any proof that there's actual animal hormone serotonin in kiwis. There is proof that the serotonin production in your body increases when you consume kiwis. That's true. Kiwis have oxalates. One of the fruits with the highest amount of oxalates. I wouldn't consume a lot of them for that reason alone.
Then he does his skincare routine, and then he injects some peptides, and then he
And some other stuff.
Supplementation is an added bonus. That's just going to enhance his nutrition,
There's nothing beneficial about using supplements. You can argue that maybe using some dried organs may be beneficial if you want to call that a supplement, because there are still nutrients which are intact. But as far as 99% of the supplements go, they are fake. I made a video about this many years ago called Don't Use Supplements, Eat Naturally. And that's simply because they are mostly synthetic, fake. They get these molecules from coal tar, for example, and then they sell it as a vitamin. You may believe that this sounds crazy. How could they do that? How can they get away with it? Well, it's not regulated, okay? It's not regulated the same way medicine is, which is why they can sell you molecules which simply look similar to vitamins and actually just call it vitamin A, vitamin D, and so on. And they can actually get away with it. It's really messed up when you look into what supplements really are. It's just a business, but they are not healthy.
So he urges everyone to really get a baseline and do some in-depth testing to know what they're deficient in, and then supplement and build a protocol based on the data.
No, if you find out that you're deficient in B12 and vitamin A, for example, then you just eat liver. You can eat liver for pretty much any nutrient deficiency, except for maybe vitamin D. You should more so eat brain, but pretty much every organ would work But liver and brain are the best, of course. Or drink blood. It has every nutrient. It's just so stupid.
The other thing to highlight with his testing is that he's not just looking to get into the reference range, because the reference range is basically built off of a population of sick people. So he wants to focus on getting to the high performance athlete range, which would...
And those are not sick people or what? Those are probably sicker than the general population.
be, the top 10% of the population. The supplements that he uses focus mostly on hormone, mitochondrial,
telomere support, but you shorten your telomere length by exercising. This makes no sense.
And telomere support with methylation and mTOR inducers in the morning, and AMPK, suturin, and autophagy inducers.
Autophagy inducers. Autophagy literally means that you're eating yourself. So he wants to induce his body eating itself. Oh my God.
Infrared sauna is one of his favorite purchases that he's ever made in terms of investing in his health, and he tries to use it almost every single day. He cites Rhonda Patrick's data and the...
Rhonda Patrick, the one who's promoting literal poison, such as sulforaphane, to people. If you listen to her, then you're completely ignorant, then you're lost.
Research has been done in Finland as it being one of the best tools that you could use for longevity and reducing your all-cause risk of mortality. I've done videos about infrared saunas on my channel as well. I'll put the...
Did it say sunlight and something?
The videos up here and down in the description if you're interested in that as well. Is utilizing red light therapy, which I...
Wait, so he doesn't go into the sun, I assume, who knows, but instead he sits inside of his prison cell home and lets the artificial red light shine on him. I can't, oh my God. Even with a t-shirt on, what are you doing?
I love red light therapy. I'm a huge fan of it. And red light therapy is really good for mitochondrial health, helps with your energy, helps with recovery and inflammation. And I've done a lot of videos about red.
That's sunlight. That's what natural sunlight, natural red light would do. These people are just lost.
Light therapy, so I'll put that playlist right here.
Don't want to see it.
This next one might be one of the most important aspects of Dave's longevity, which is his faith. Dave makes a strong case for finding a...
Great. He's even more brainwashed than I thought.
Purpose outside of your work, and ideally forming it around something of being in service to others. And he believes that one of the best places to do that is inside of your spiritual community, which for him is his church. As I was reading through his stuff, he mentioned that in the past he was a bit of a loner and a wallflower, and it wasn't until he started going to church that he was...
Yes, Jesus, I see you, I feel you, I have a connection with you. Enter my body through your lovely spirit, Jesus.
Put in a position where he had to be in...
Look how happy all of those people there are.
And before he found the church, he had this gnawing feeling that he had a
Wait, what is he gonna say?
God-sized hole in his life.
Yeah, exactly. The only people who find church, God or Jesus or any religion are people who are lost. I already linked a documentary about this. Maybe I'll link it again, because there's a video of a Christian who went to a tribe and wanted to convert them to Christianity, and in the end they converted him to leave Christianity because he realized that you need to be miserable, lost and depressed to find Jesus. Only those kind of people get into any religions, except of course if you grow up with it, but the ones who say that they later on in life found the church, Jesus or God, it's only lost and depressed people. There are no other people, because a happy and healthy human being never looks for anything on the outside. They are never seeking anything because they already have everything that they want. They already feel perfect. Yeah, that says a lot about him.
And through this community, his family has become much larger than it ever was. In his words, he said, it's all...
Yeah, also people who feel lonely, who don't have a natural, actual family themselves, also look for this community. But again, it goes back to you being lost.
All been a blessing beyond my wildest dream, because who doesn't want to love and be loved? It is now and always there will be, thanks to my very large community, that I will remain forever young, if not still.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody wants to love and be loved. It's just not the right way to do it.
All the progress that he's made has really happened in the last 12 years. So from 50 to 62, he reversed his biological age a lot. So now he's at 38.
How exactly did he reverse it? How is he 38? Like, how do they test this? I tried to look it up, but I didn't find any answers as to how they actually tested. If you don't look like you're 38, then you're just not 38. There is no other way to prove it.
Instead of his mid-60s, which is incredible. So regardless of where you're at with your health right now, it's never too late to start. And Dave...
Yeah, it's never too late to start lifting metal up and down to reduce your lifespan and to create more wrinkles.
Dave is a shining example of what's possible with dedication, some focus, some testing.
You don't need to be dedicated or focused on anything if you live naturally. It's just gonna happen naturally.
And getting on the right diet.
What right diet? Overcooked meat or what? Where there's over 50% of the protein destroyed and no micronutrients left?
Thank you so much for being an inspiration to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people out there. And when you see this video, please reach out to me because I've been trying to get in touch with you and I would love to make a follow-up video. So thank you so much for watching.
It seems like almost nobody in the anti-aging movement today knows what they are talking about. They promote exercise, which, as I said, shortens the telomere length. It's generally extreme stress for the body. Stress always reduces your lifespan and makes you look older, creates more wrinkles. The diets that they promote are also not made up of superfoods, which is what they claim. As I said, superfoods are blood and raw organs. There are no other superfoods. It's the most nutritious and easiest to digest foods on earth. What they were promoting didn't even have over 15 micronutrients. How could you possibly have a superfood which is lacking over 15 micronutrients? That alone should already make people understand that they have no idea what they are talking about, right? But no, there's still a lot of people who just don't get it. The guy himself, who's 62, doesn't look like he's 38, obviously. The condition of his skin is actually pretty horrible. He actually looks pretty sick. It's just that most people use this photo where he's in a sauna or whatever, where he's sweaty. You can't really see the condition of his skin. The photo is not very good quality. That's really the main reason why people say that besides him having hair, the beard not being gray in a lot of the photos, although as you could see in some of them, the beard is gray, and him having some muscle, which is because of the TRT. It's an absolute illusion, and the guy who made this video, as I said, let me know how old he is, because no matter how old he is, he's also not looking well. He's looking sick because of the dark eye circles alone. He just looks very exhausted, as if he's exercising way too much and eating the wrong food. None of these guys promote anything that's actually anti-aging, a lifestyle which would make you age slower. We will all age, of course, but you can also age naturally the way you're supposed to. And if you eat this kind of garbage food and stress your body so much, then you will age quicker, of course. And all of these guys are the perfect example of them being wrong. They prove it themselves with the way they look like, but people still don't see it. Brian Johnson with his makeup, video editing and whatnot. This guy also, all that you need to do is look up other photos and you see how old he actually looks like. I don't even know if anybody out there who's actually promoting proper anti-aging lifestyles. Simply live closer to nature. That's it. The more naturally you live, the slower you're going to age. Thanks for watching.